Hi everyone, Lauren Gates here from Sangoma Technologies, and this webinar is for the introduction of the CDR Pro module for FreePBX and PBXact. In today's webinar, we'll do a quick introduction to the CDR Pro module, what it takes to get started with licensing and installation. We'll go over the types of reports that are available, as well as the different views and options. We'll touch on how to schedule CDR reports, and at the end, assuming there's plenty of time, we'll delve into the superficial aspects of some of the technical details of the module. So the CDR Pro module is a new commercial module from Sangoma. It's designed to simplify the call reporting experience for the FreePBX and PBXact administrator. Our goal with this module is to provide all administrators with a tool for generating call reports that is, on the one hand, simple, but also powerful. If anyone here in this webinar has tried to generate a call report using the existing CDR report modules or the CEL reporting module in FreePBX or PBXact, they may have experienced some frustration in trying to set up a list of callers to a specific DID, or perhaps you've wanted to set up an automated report to be delivered daily or at whatever time interval you want of specific types of calls. None of that at the present is currently possible using the existing CDR reporting modules, but CDR Pro does this and more right out of the box. So what do we mean by simple? Reports are presented such that one conversation is one record on one row. Common complaint with the CDR reporting module in the past was multiple rows, multiple records generated in certain circumstances and call flows for a single phone call. And it was sometimes, depending on the complexity of the system, difficult to determine who spoke with who and for how long. We have predefined report sets that you can quickly select from. We have predefined date ranges to quickly select from, so that if you want to see today's reports, yesterday's a report on yesterday's calls, or the previous weeks, the previous month, the previous 3 months, those pre-selects are ready and waiting for you to click once to see the call records. You can see call statistics presented graphically to get a sense of what's going on your system at a glance. And in a couple seconds, you can schedule a report to be delivered right to your inbox if you want it delivered via email or to other destinations as configured. We'll go into that towards the end. What do we mean by powerful? You, as the administrator, can define a precise period for a report to start and stop. So you can set the date and the time of the start and the stop periods for which the calls, for the report that the calls are, that you're interested in. You can see the calls presented in a tabular format list with individuals' records listed. You can click on the tabular record to get full call technical details. The same sort of reporting you're used to seeing if you use the CEL module for doing call reports. You can export call records from the tabular view to various different formats, including CSV, Excel, PDF, JSON. So you can take those records and re-import them into different software applications and do more analysis or reporting. In addition to email, you can schedule automatic delivery of call reporting records directly to file storage destination configured with the file store module. So if you want them stored on an FTP site or uploaded to a Amazon S3 bucket, those are supported configurations. To get started, you need a license, as it's a commercial module. If you're on PBXact Cloud, CDR Pro module license is included in all systems automatically and has been available now for a few weeks. If you're using PBXact Prem, the CDR Pro module license is included with any PBXact POMPs contract. As long as the POMPs contract is current, CDR Pro module features are available. If you're using FreePBX, the CDR Pro module license is purchased from the store at portal.sangoma.com, and a free trial is available. And as with all Sangoma commercial modules, CDR Pro is only supported on PBXact or on the FreePBX distro systems, and only on versions 15 and up. If the module is not currently installed, that is, the CDR Reports Pro options do not appear in the Reports menu already on your system, then it is installed, as we do with all PBX modules, by browsing to admin updates in the FreePBX or PBXact GUI, select the Modules tab. There's a Check Online button there that you click, and from the resulting list, you can add any modules that show up in that list. If you want to do it from Bash or from scripting, there is a command for that, fwconsole -ma download install CDR Pro, and it will instantly download and install the module for you. Once the module is successfully installed, you will see two new menu entries appear under the Reports section in the GUI, CDR Reports Pro and CDR Reports Scheduler. So let's take a look at what the reports look like. When you first browse to report CDR reports, this is the view that greets you. You will see at a glance a graphical display of all calls for the previous month. Sorry, not for the previous month, for the previous 30 days from the time that the report is generated. In the upper left, we can see there's two drop-down menus, report type and period, and we'll take a look at that now in a little more detail. So the drop-down menu for report type includes, by default, all calls as well. You can further filter that down to inbound calls, outbound calls, internal calls that are calls from a local extension to a local extension. You can report on missed calls, on answered calls. You can get extension details for a specific extension. You can get DID details for a specific DID, one or more. You can choose one or more ring groups to report on, or one or more queues. In addition to the report type, you also want to set a reporting period so that you can indicate which calls to include in the call report. So you set the start date and time and set the stop date and time. And there are several presets you can use for that. So you can choose all of today's calls, all of yesterday's calls, the previous 7 days, the previous 30 days, this month, last month, the last 3 months. And of course, you can set a custom range where you can set the date, time, down to the minute, beginning to end. Going back to the graphical view now, in the upper right of your screen, you'll see a switch view toggle. So currently, this view is showing what we see with the graphical view. The graphical view will show in more detail. My apologies. The tabular view is the other one for the toggle, which will show in more detail here. So we click the switch view from graphical to tabular. We now see a report summary that shows all the statistics for the calls and the reporting period, average time, outbound calls, number of inbound calls, number of internal calls, etc. And below that is a tabular view of all the individual calls in the reporting period. The calls are presented in multiple pages, and there's a selector where you can choose how many calls to display per page. Similarly, as is done in other modules, you can choose between 50, 100, etc. So let's take a quick peek at the options now that are available for the report data. So at the top is a tabular view, which will change slightly depending on the report type that's selected. For the all calls report that we're using as the example here, we can see total calls, inbound calls, outbound calls, internal call counts. So those are raw counters of the actual call numbers. We can see answered and missed call counters. We see the average media experience score, MES, for transmit and receive of the call. And MES is a new feature in Asterisk that came out fairly recently. I'll go into that in a bit more detail towards the end. It also calculates the average time for all calls, and as well as inbound and outbound calls, internal calls, etc. And it will show the average calls per minute over the selected time period. Note about the media experience score, you'll need to be using asterisk 20 or higher, which is supported on FreePBX PBXact. I will note it states here that asterisk 20 or higher is required. That's actually technically not true. Asterisk 18 or higher supports MES, media experience score, but for FreePBX PBXact 16, you probably want to be on the most recent long-term support version, which is asterisk 20. So also, as part of the report data, in the tabular view, in the upper right, we'll see a menu. My apologies. At the upper left, we'll see a menu for exporting call data. So there's a little drop-down menu selector from which you can choose to export CSV, JSON, PDF, or Excel formats. Choose the desired format, hit the export CDR button, and it will immediately download a file locally to your PC. From there, you can take that file, import it into a spreadsheet or any other external application, do further call analysis, graphing, or what have you. At the top right of the report data section are two additional buttons where you can control which columns to display on the for the call report. So if you want to simplify things at a glance, you can disable some additional columns to condense down the view, or if you want to see some additional data, you can also add columns. I'll note that the export feature includes all the columns, regardless of which ones are selected for display. The column selector is only for customizing the current display that's in front of you. Continuing on with the tabular view, we'll notice also that the upper right button of the report data section includes a button which will toggle between a narrow row with a summarized value for each column, or you can expand that into a full row so that all call details are available for all calls at a glance. Focusing on the final two columns to the far right of the tabular view, we have call details and actions. In the call details column, you'll see three little icons, or up to three icons. The first icon is information. Clicking the information icon will bring up the dialog. It will show all the technical details for the call. It's the CEL data specifically for the call that you're investigating. Anyone who's familiar with the CEL module will be familiar with that format, and it's the same data that's available there. The second little handset icon brings up the call dial for the call. And so if it's a simple outbound call to a single destination, that dial will indicate one single record. But if you're receiving inbound calls to a ring group, or if you have a single call that got transferred through to multiple different parties, you will see a separate dial entry for each individual part of the phone call. And that's available by clicking the little handset icon. If you're using a version of Asterisk that supports it, you'll see a third icon with a little split star. If you click the media experience score icon, you'll get some additional information there, which indicates the call quality So it allows you to follow up on reports from your user base with regard to call audio quality. We'll go into that in a tiny bit more depth towards the end. The final rightmost column is the actions column, and there you'll see icons appear whenever a call has been recorded. And so you can use the familiar playback and download buttons to listen to the call or download a copy, similarly as is done in the other call reporting modules. So we'll go into the report scheduler. First of all, directly from the reports menu to CDR report scheduler will bring up a list of all the scheduled reports on the system. There's a button there to create, and when you click that, you will see a view similar to what is showing here now, where you can specify the report type, the export format, the time period, and the repeat frequency that you want this report to run, which has an option of daily, weekly, or one time only, that sort of thing. You can send the report to whatever destination has previously been configured in the file store module. So if you want to do something as simple as set a PDF of daily reports to an email address, you would set up the email address destination in file store and then use it directly from this configuration window here. If you want to upload the reports to JSON in JSON format to an S3 bucket or to an FTP site, you would configure all those details in the file store module again in advance, and then choose that as the destination here for the storage location. In addition to creating schedule reports from scratch, there's also a nice feature in the whenever you're viewing a CDR Pro report, there is a schedule report button in front of you as part of the view. So if you set up a report that shows you all specific details for the specific time period for whatever it is, whether you want one or more separate ring groups, as is the case here in front of us with the example at the top. Once you have that report looking pretty much the way you want it to in front of you, you hit the schedule report button and it opens up the schedule report dialog and pre-populates all of the settings for the report that you're currently looking at as part of that. You just need to tweak what you want, set a report frequency and a destination, and then set it directly from that screen. It will save you a few steps when setting up scheduled reports, as well as giving you a sense of the type of report content you'll see as part of the scheduled report. So let's take a few moments to talk about some of the technical details for the module for those who are interested in what happens underneath the covers. When the CDR Pro module is first installed and licensed, all new calls going forward from that point will be recorded and available in the CDR Pro records table. Any calls previous to that time will not automatically be included in your reports. If you wish to include your previous call reports or call records from prior to the module install and setup, you do that once by running a command from the bash prompt fw console space CDR Pro space -sync. That will go through all your current CDR and CEL tables, pull out the necessary data, and create all new records in the CDR Pro records table. A caveat to this is that if you have a lot of existing CDR CEL data to process, and this would be the case if you have a very busy system, or if you have a system that's been running a long time, where you have multiple years worth of CDR CEL records, there's a risk that running this command will take a long time to complete, many minutes to a fraction of an hour potentially if the system is busy enough. And during that time, it may result in high system resource or system resource usage while that command is in progress, which is the reason it's not done automatically on module install. So if in doubt, you simply schedule to run this command during a maintenance window or after hours when the system is lightly loaded. If you're familiar with the way CDRs are stored in FreePBX and PBXact, you'll know that the records are created automatically in SQL in the Asterisk CDRDB database. Those who have gone in here are probably familiar with the CDR and CEL table, and those tables respectively are have records generated automatically by Asterisk for all call events on the system. In addition to those two tables, there is now a new table named transient_CDR. Every time a call event happens that is of interest to the CDR Pro module, a record is generated in this table. This table is fully managed by the PBX so that it is occasionally updated when necessary for module updates. It will be automatically trimmed and purged of old records so to ensure that the database size doesn't get out of hand. And it generally is used entirely for internal purposes on the PBX. Also of note is that call records are not necessarily immediately available upon call completion. So in the case for the CDR and CEL records, the second that you hang up a phone for a phone call, the records are finalized for both of those tables and are instantly available from the CDR and CEL tables, unless you have some configuration that delays that due to batching, but that would not be a default configuration. In contrast, call events records may not be available in the transient CDR table for up to 10 minutes after the call is made. So if you're trying to generate call reports in and doing some testing on what's available, be aware that when you make some test calls, the will not be necessarily reflected immediately in the call statistics and in the call tabular view. As I teased earlier, media experience score as generated by Asterisk is now available for calls as well as collectively for average across multiple calls from the CDR Pro module. So when you're in the tabular view and you click the MES button, which shows up in the far right column for the individual records, it will bring up a table similar to what we're looking at here. It will show you the different variable names associated with the MES score generated by Asterisk. It will show you minimums and maximums for transmits and receives, as well as standard deviations and other properties associated with the media experience score. All of which is highly technical, and it probably could go into a webinar all on its own for this. But if you ever find yourself in a position where you need to investigate audio quality associated with a specific phone call, or if you're trying to troubleshoot audio quality that's intermittent based on reports from your users, this might be a good way to start the process. You have a report of a specific call at a specific date and time for a specific user. You locate that in CDR, that call in the tabular view of the CDR Pro module. You pull up the MES details, and you can compare that with known quantities of a good call. You can also export it for reuse elsewhere. And obviously, with all that's going on here with the Asterisk MES values, you may want to delve into what's available in the Asterisk wiki, which is at docs.asterisk.org/deployment/media-experience-score. And that brings us to the end of our overview. I think we'll pause for a few moments and see what we have available for questions. Let me open up my questions dialog here. I see there's a number here already. We have a question from Josh asking about developing Q reports. There is, it depends on what you mean specifically by the term Q reports, of course. There is a module specifically for that, the Q reporting module, which may or may not meet your needs. If memory serves, there is a free trial for that available from the Sangoma portal store, portal.sangoma.com. And there is also some Q call reporting available in the CDR Pro module as one of the filters that's available. So you can do a CDR report, CDR Pro report on Q calls and see all inbound calls in the same way. It will calculate average call length and give you details for individual calls, who was answered by who and transferred to whom, that sort of thing. So depending on the complexity of your requirements for your Q reporting, these one or both of these modules may fit the bill. Question from Herb about incoming caller ID name. Incoming caller ID number is available, but in the screen caps, we didn't see caller ID name. I'm 99% sure I know the answer to that, Herb, but I will follow up with you via email if you want to provide your email address for that, just so that I don't guess and get it wrong. Question from David: how long are records kept in the database before they're dropped to manage the size of the DB? If I think it is by default 6 months. That is not user configurable at the moment, but we may investigate adding that as a feature. There is a risk, as this is a brand new module and I'm going on brand new knowledge, there is a risk I've gotten that number wrong, David. So again, if you want to leave your email address, I'll follow up and confirm that I'm correct with that answer. Question from Ken. When calling from Sangoma desk phone, the information is not correct. If it is set to call from a phone mode, does not write the data. Reading between the lines here, Ken, it sounds like you have a support situation here. It's not crystal clear to me whether you're talking about a click to call scenario or if you're talking about desktop phone or a hard phone. But if you're seeing information in the reports that is not correct, then that's a support issue. As with all paid commercial modules, support is included with the module. So I would encourage you to open up a support ticket on that. Drop my name on it if you want. Say it came up in the webinar just now, and to bring it to my attention with whomever is assigned in the support. Charles was asking what the URL was again for the MES score. I think you're asking about the, let me scroll back to the asterisk portion, media experience score. So this is just for Charles, but everyone else can take note of this URL at the bottom of the screen as well. docs.asterisk.org/deployment/media-experience-score.
And I did just drop that into the chat there, Lauren, as well in the questions.
Good man. Any features or plans for real-time call stats? From Chris. I assume, Chris, that you mean as far as like call wallboard type stuff. We do have a call wallboard module. I think I'm correct in stating there's a free trial available from the portal store. Can you confirm that, Mike? If not, in any case, that is our real-time call reporting module where you can see where you can see stats at a glance, active calls and queues, that sort of thing.
And Lauren, we also have the new queue features that are being added to the Sangoma phone desktop application for real-time statistics on queues as well.
Yeah, so we'll tease that in this webinar. As far as that'll be a subject of a future webinar in the very near future with the Sangoma phone desktop, in addition to making, receiving phone calls, messaging, SMS, that sort of thing. There will be a tranche of features involved in barging, whispering in queue calls and active calls, as well as seeing who's on a call at a glance, that type of thing. So like a proper switchboard. Question from John: has the webinar been recorded and we'll be able to watch it again? Question for both of those is yes. Webinar is being recorded. They often take a day or two to show up on social media, and when it does, you can view it as many times as you wish. Patrick is asking about generating an event or email in the event of a bad call. That's not something that's currently supported, but doesn't sound like it's too far beyond the feature set that we're currently offering. So I'll take that under advisement. The issue, of course, is that the MES values as reported from Asterisk are complex, and we're still learning to use them. So it will have to be some sort of definable threshold below which or above which you find the audio quality to be acceptable or not. And so there's a number of things involved in making that happen. And I don't think we have a mechanism under which we can generate a report ad hoc as opposed to on a fixed schedule, but we might be able to do something like having a periodic summary of calls with poor audio quality arrive at some point in the future. So I'll discuss that with engineering, and we'll use this suggestion to inform future developments. Ali is asking if CDR Pro is available as a free add-on for PBXact. It is, as I stated at the very beginning, CDR Pro is available for all PBXact cloud systems as is, no cost. It is available for all PBXact premise systems, and it is bundled with the support contract. So as long as your contract is current, any contract of any type, you can use the module features. Long question here. Thank you for the presentation. You mentioned the transient CDR table is automatically deleting the data. What is the period that it keeps, and could this period be configured? It is not currently configurable. I believe the value is 6 months, that we keep 6 months worth of records. But again, Konstantin, I will correct myself via email if that turns out to be wrong. So if you want to provide your email via the question, I'll follow up just to make sure. Kieran is asking if there's a 25-year license option. There is not, Kieran. It is 1 year only. Same question from Trevor. Question from Jose. Is CDR Pro included with PBXact Prem? Again, I'll iterate. The PBXact Prem licensing is as long as you're on version 15 or higher, as long as you have a current support contract, the CDR Pro license is included at no cost. Question from Josh, who is, he says he's planning to go to Astracon. So, yep, see you there, Josh. Come and say hi. Eric is asking about the wiki. Good point, Eric. I meant to include a slide about this. So there's a lot going on with the wiki. There's a current FreePBX blog entry about this. The previous 2 blogs touch on this. We had a structural failure of the wiki, the FreePBX wiki at wiki.freepbx.org, which is the same content you see if you go to wiki.sangoma.com. Both of those domains now redirect to help.sangoma.com. In the coming days, we'll have a link there to take you to a new wiki resource running in Confluence Cloud, which will have all the same content that you're familiar with for the FreePBX and PBXact wiki pages. That migration is ongoing now. We're largely finished, and as soon as it is done, as soon as it is public, we'll start making announcements on the FreePBX forum that what's available and where. So watch for that, Eric. John is asking the syntax to install CDR Pro. So I'm going to scroll back to, to install command. It's at the very beginning. Introduction. Here it is here at the bottom of this page, John. FW console space MA space download install space CDR Pro. Download install is all one word. This is a standard FW console command for the module admin suite of features. You can do a number of things here, but essentially it is possible to install any FreePBX or PBXact module using command of this format. Long question here from Konstantinos. I can see PBXact updates, CDR reports, module version or higher. You have confirming again that the CDR Pro module is available on both 15 and 16. That's PBXact and FreePBX versions 15 and 16. It looks like if you're running PBXact 16, you may not yet be able to download one of the requisite version for the CDR module, which is a dependency. So I will chase that down for you with engineering and make sure that the module pinning for PBXact Prem on 15 is set correctly. How do we access the free trial? From Herb. If you are running FreePBX 15 or 16, log in to portal.sangoma.com, go to the store, and either via browse or via search for CDR Pro. You'll see there's an option there to add a 1-year paid license or a 1-month free license. You just add the free license to your cart and do a checkout with zero cost, and it will assign that 1-month license to your FreePBX deployment. Still going through questions here.
I dropped a link in the chat for that as well, for the free trial, if anyone wants to check that out.
Todd is asking about a 30-day free trial. I see the offer expired. The offer, there should be no expiry. It should be available for any FreePBX system once. So I'm not sure what you're seeing there, Todd. If you are unable to purchase the 30-day trial, or that is to check out with a 30-day free trial, there's something going on there. You can touch with support or ask in the forum. We can follow up in detail. But as far as I know, from my experience with the portal in the last less than 6-7 days now, I was able to buy that free trial license from portal without any issues. David's asking about 25-year licenses. No, not currently available, David. 1 year's only. Okay, so again, some follow-ups from Todd there. I think that takes me to the very end of the list of questions. So if anyone has anything else they want to add to the list. Oh, there's something here from, yeah, John has an issue with regard to a version 15 dependencies on PBXact I'll chase that in with engineering and make sure that we have the proper pinned versions for all module dependencies for PBXact Prem. So I got 2 reports here now from 15's systems running PBXact that are unable to install the module because the dependencies are not available. This seems like a good time to cut things off. I see no more questions.
Thanks, Lauren. Thanks, everyone. Thank you for joining.